Nerds, and welcome to Powerful, the Power Metal podcast. My name is Kyle, and I'll be your host today, along with my friend Fernando.
Hello.
We have a very special episode today. We are joined by Lauge, the organizer. I think I said that well enough. An organizer of awesome. Epic Fest, the most epic festival known to man. Lauge reached out to us after our episode this year about Epic Fest, where we nearly froze to death, but had a great time doing it. So, hey, Lauge, thank you for coming to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
It is tradition around here for us every time we have a guest to ask them for their top 4 power metal bands. Now, this is, whatever, everything counts, whatever you feel in your heart at this very moment.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, so that's the first one. Okay. Let me then start with Stratovarius. Has a very big spot in my heart. And I think that for what is even more awesome with Stratovarius is that they have had a great career for a long time, took a break, and then they come back with a killer record where they kind of make a new version and sound of themselves, but still keeping very true to what they stand for. And when I saw them playing at Gimle, where I work in my day-to-day life, a venue in Roskilde, when I saw them playing on the Survive, it was not Survive 2, it was the class of the Nordic Titans, I think it was called, them and the Sonata Arctica. When they played at Gimle, they fucking killed it. So just like immediately after, I wrote to the agent, hope you're sitting, having a good time in the bus away from here. Let's talk about Epic Fest. So Stratovarius,
nice,
no brainer.
Strong pick, yeah.
Hammerfall, for fuck's sake. That's
classic.
been the soundtrack for so many years in my life, I would say. Rhapsody, that was, now we're going legacy, I know.
Yeah, that's all legacy bands, but I love it.
They changed, these 3 bands have like really changed so much for me. And they are the reason why I fell in love with Power, I think. Fellowship, let's just pick that one.
Oh, there it is.
I was like, Søren, my co-founder of Epic Fest, I think he got a promo mail from the record label, Scarlet Record, I think. And it's like, okay, try to listen to this album, Lauge. And then he forwarded it to me. It's like, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, the next track, this is awesome too. Okay, this is awesome too. What the fuck? How can like a new band create like an album where every song is just genius?
Yeah.
So we decided to immediately contact them. I think they were actually the first band we booked for the 2024 edition of Epic Fest, this year's festival. When they released the record, it's like, oh shit. Okay. Let's see. Then I need missing one.
That's 4 there, I think.
That's 4. So if you want, you're great. That lot of awesome list. I think.
Yeah, there's so much good music to Insania. I will highlight that as well.
Yes. You guys are bringing them back.
Yeah, exactly. And, I've been listening so much to Insania, and I was also in dialogue with them right after our first edition of Epic Fest. And it's like, come on, guys. Why are you not playing live? Shouldn't we change that a bit? And then we have had a very good talk back and forth in the last 1.5 year, and then in the end they said, okay, now we're ready. Okay, let's bring you guys back and then make an awesome show. So I will highlight them too.
Yeah, after you guys announced Insania for next year's show, I jumped into their back catalog because I'm like, this is a bit of a deep cut, but they got some really good stuff. I think that'll be a great show next year. Indeed.
Yeah, looking very much forward to hear some of the classics live. So I know they're very excited too. Haven't played live for over 10 years and going back to the gym and starting working out, getting shape, so like keeping the stamina and everything. So I can't wait. I'm 110% sure that they're going to pull off a very, very nice show. So yeah,
nice.
That was some power.
That's great.
That's a great power to start it off with. So I think I wanted to ask you about the Danish power metal scene in general and kind of how that led to Epic Fest's creation. So you guys, you're going to be on your 3rd festival now. And I've noticed that whenever I'm looking at like the European tours that are happening, it seems like the Danish show for a lot of these bands, they're coming to Roskilde and not as opposed to like Copenhagen, which you would think would be the first thing that comes to mind for a Danish show. So what is it about Roskilde that really becomes like the power metal center of Denmark?
Basically, because Søren and I decided to like a couple of years ago.
That's how it goes. There's just some fucking dude that's like, all right, let's do it.
Long story short, both Søren and I grew up in Roskilde together as kids. Played in the metal scene there. Roskilde is very famous for music. Music is a huge focus. It has Roskilde Festival, which is like one of the best, highest rated festivals in the world. If you look into these, what you call this, universal score, something like that. But it's a very nice festival. It's more like a mainstream festival, but it means that everybody in Roskilde kind of, they are growing up, like their childhood and everything is like based on being a part of a festival. And they have 35,000 volunteers at Roskilde Festival. Means like the whole city is involved in this festival in many ways. My dad has been there since the 80s. So I kind of, when you are from Roskilde, music means kind of everything to you. And then I actually started working at the venue where I work now. It's like as a volunteer when I was in 6th grade or something like that. So music is like a huge part of it. And then me and Søren is like kind of, I would say, there's not a huge power metal scene in Denmark, but both me and Søren really loved it. And when I took over the chair as program director at Gimle in 2019, we kind of decided that, well, let's change this. Start booking some more, try to create like a scene for power metal back here. And of course, there's all the major bands that can tour, like Sabaton is just being announced for Royal Arena in Copenhagen. So it's not like that the bigger, the big names, they can still attract people.
Yeah.
But like there's not so much for the newer power metal scene. And then Søren and I decided, okay, let's make like a one-day event or something like that for some power metal. And then kind of our messenger dialogue kind of went crazy. And then we kind of, during that night on my birthday, was like texting. He was in the studio with Seb from Odin Ogan mixing his Søren's own band's record. And he was like sitting in the studio, and I was, I can't actually remember where I was, but we was just like texting, oh, let's make that, why one day? Let's make 2 days. Okay, which bands are going to play? Okay, No Brainer, Blind Guardian, Rhapsody, Dream Evil, that would be, that's the whole soundtrack of our teenage years.
Right,
let's do that.
I love that,
Then it kind of is like, we turned it into reality, I would say. And then we could see that this was not just of interest for like Danes to have like a celebration of power metal. I think the first year people came from 22 different countries and only Gimle, and it was like, okay, that was beyond what we expected.
Yeah.
So let's just put pedal to the metal and see where this can go. And that version was from April to January 24, like April 23 to January 24. So we didn't have like a whole year to develop it, but we scaled it up 2.5 times and promised to scaling up, making it better, not just bigger, but making it better. And we spent so much time on that in those 10 months or what it was. And now we had almost 1.5 years to prepare the upcoming festival, and I can promise that that's going to be freaking goddamn epic.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it might be like the best power metal lineup I've seen at a festival like this. It's really impressive what you guys have lined up for next year.
Yeah, for real.
Think so.
For real. And like I think you should be proud about the fact that when we were in Denmark in January for it, people kept asking us, "Why are you here? If you are like, are you here for work?" Like, no, I'm coming as a tourist. Like, why? Like
it's not a tourist
people
time.
kept asking us, like, why are you all here now? Like, you came all the way.
Like the hotels in Roskilde is like, why are there so many people in this weekend in January? That doesn't make any sense. So good for the local community too.
Can I ask why it was in January this year when the other years are in April? Because it was really freaking cold.
Yes, it was based on a very good talk we had with Gloryhammer's agency. And they decided to go on a tour with Beast in Black.
So to line up with that tour then.
And exactly.
Gotcha.
So that made it possible for us to risk, like, a tour is more efficient than flying 25 bands in like we're kind of doing this year. Everybody is a fly-in for the upcoming festival. But it was built up so we could have that tour as a part of the festival. And the thing is that we don't have to rent like an outdoor area to create like an open air festival. We kind of have like control over the indoor venues when we're in long term, so we can kind of plan whenever we want to when we can make the best festival possible for the fans of power metal, then we're making it.
Yeah, I loved the how you turned the like community center for Roskilde into this like fantasy tavern with like the banners and the torches and everything. It was really cool.
The little band playing on the side of the tables, that was perfect. Just set the mood for everyone. Really great. Really great.
They're really nice. They will be back too, and more I can promise.
I know.
For next year we're going to Roskilde Congress Center has they have 2 concert halls that is made for shows and concerts and comedy and stuff like that. And the small one of them was King Roa's Hall this year with that theme.
Was the small one.
And that was the small one.
So we're going bigger.
So it's going to be twice the size next year.
Oh wow.
And it's going to be 3 stages. So the new main stage is called the Realm of Might and Magic, and it's going to be there's going to be some seated areas in there too, but it's going to be a 2,500 cap venue. And then there's King Roa's Hall, and then there's Gimle too. So it'll be like 3 stages.
I feel like squeezing people into Gimle for the smaller events, it might be tough. I know for like Fellowship last year, that was a whole fire hazard.
Yeah, I know that exploded. Also because they were, as I said, they were the first band we booked, and things kind of exploded during that year, I would say, for those guys. But I have promised them that they will be playing a bigger stage next year, and the reason why people have asked, why do you keep having Gimle? And I think it's the possibility that it gives us to have a lot of newer bands too, playing for a completely packed atmosphere, and like also very intimate. And I think that adds something. And of course, there's limited caps, just like every other festival. There's limited caps and tents and outdoors, and even at Wacken you can go see something and you can be so much in the back that it's not even a show. But of course, indoor venue festivals, just like Ropeburn or other indoor festivals, also Inferno Festival in Norway, there is a limited cap, and if there's something on the smaller venues that you really, really want to see, then you have to prioritize that. And that's how it is when it's indoor. But I would actually say that for Fellowship, if you had stayed for like 20 minutes, people were actually let in. There was no queue. I could walk directly in after 25 minutes, and it's because of the safety reasons that they need to click and make people that they are in the venue at the right spot, so it doesn't like get bad situations in there. So like taking in like three different runs, like 80% in one run, and then the last 20% in like smaller chunks. to make sure that
there's no blockage of all the exits and stuff like that. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, I know. But the good thing for Fellowship is that it was so hyped, and people were very frustrating about not being able to see that. That's kind of
that's
a good promotion, I would say. Exactly,
the best problem to have, honestly. It was it was an amazing show, and now that everyone wants to catch this show. So
yeah, I love that you guys just immediately were like, "All right, they're coming back next year."
Yeah,
like don't even question it.
And I wrote them mail for like a couple of days ago about the plans, and it's gonna be very great. I would say it's going to be epic.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it, especially with the new songs. It's like they still have it. They are not losing. It's not a fluke. they actually.
We say that every time they release a song. We're like, oh, yeah, maybe it was a fluke that they're this good. Like, no, it's not.
You never know. We've been burned before. We have,
but not this time.
And we're really happy that they keep getting larger shows as well. They are friends, and we really hope that they keep growing in a very like this. It's the best. That was also what I wanted to apologize to you because if you remember listening to, if you actually said you listened to our review of Epic Fest, and I did sneak backstage to meet up with all my musician friends. I should not have done that. People should not do that. I'm sorry.
Troublemaker here.
I actually think I kind of remember it, but I saw that it was like very nice chat, and I said, okay. And then I asked somebody if they're a relation, and they know each other. And then, okay, fuck it. I'm not the police here. I think it's going to be fine. But I would say that next year it's going to be so much bigger and a lot of other things going on that it's probably going not to be possible.
Yeah, I know. We have to do everything properly.
That is all good. All good. No worries, mate.
So one thing that I remember, the first announcements for the next festival, the first band announcements, we were a bit surprised, like saying, "Oh, look at all these U.S. bands, North American bands going to Epic." That's pretty cool because we always, being on this side of the planet, we're always thinking on the opposite terms. So like, oh, all the cool bands are in Europe, and they so rarely go to the States. Like if you're in North America, you need to go to one of the 4 big festivals, or mostly to Prog Power, to catch one of the European bands that don't tour otherwise. So now it's like, of course, this happens the other way around because there are bands on your poster that have never played Europe before, and that has to be pretty cool. And I think that's great that you're actually doing that with the fest.
Yeah, it never happens the other way around there, it feels like. So I think you guys are bringing, is it Judicator and Shadow Strike for a couple of them? Yeah,
exactly. The thing is that these bands don't play in Europe, and it's because it's I would say it's tough to go and tour Europe, even as a European. That you need to have a good strategy to do that. And when we have a festival and a platform where we can showcase, and we're also flying a lot of industry people to Epic Fest and stuff like that, we want to give the US scene like the best possible terms to have like the first and best show in Europe ever, and give them the possibilities to go overseas and play like for a very dedicated audience, and hopefully give them a very good time of their life. And that just makes so much sense to pick the things from America that we really love and we never are able to see here. And I really liked, Shadow Strike, and I really liked Judicator. John is an awesome guy. And Glyph too.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Have they found the new singer yet?
It has not been announced who the full-time singer is. They're still re-releasing their songs with guests. But the auditions are close. So we'll see. We have to wait a bit more, I guess.
I think Induction is another one that's playing next year with it'll have a new singer who I think they also just decided.
Yeah.
But I haven't announced it.
He was very busy with Tail Gunner, his other band. when Induction actually played on the Stradivarius Sonata Arctica tour at Gimle too. That was the first time I saw Induction live, and they actually brought another singer on that whole tour too, because he was out touring with Tail Gunner and decided to prioritize that, and I think that's cool that if you have said yes to something, you follow up on that. But I could imagine that it's frustrating as a band that you have so much other activity. And I can remember the singer they brought with him is the guy from All for Metal. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One of those guys.
One of the
Not the biggest guy. Not the biggest one of them.
It's the big guy and the smaller guy. Like
the smaller punk guy. I can't remember his name. Sorry, mate. Yeah. But he was doing an amazing show. But I think he's too busy also with another project, so it's not going to be him. Very interesting to see. But Induction, these guys, I've seen them live a couple of times now. They're really, really good. They're going to kill it. I'm 100% sure.
Yeah, they're one of my favorite up-and-coming bands, I think. Yeah. And there's a little of, I don't know, power metal nepotism with Kai Hansen's son in there, but they are legitimately
I think that's
good.
like, it works in reverse almost, because there's a lot of people that are like, I will not care about this band because it's just Kai Hansen's kid and they will not listen. So it kind of goes both ways for them, you know. You just gotta have a different share to listen.
They have proven themselves
for sure,
I would say. So it doesn't need daddy's help.
Yeah.
They are fucking awesome.
Yeah, and their style's not exactly the same as Halloween. They're, I think, more symphonic and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the main thing. Honestly, like looking at the full lineup again for next year, it's a really cool festival.
Yeah.
There's so many, because it's not just, it's obviously a power metal festival, but it's not just like these four bands that are roughly the same vibe. You have the spread. There's things for everyone here. Like the Ross the Boss set sticks out to me as one of the extreme sides. We saw them in Prog Power 2018. I don't know if it's the same exact band, but it was it's a cool traditional show. And I'm really excited, as a lot of people, about Fabio Lione's Dawn of Victory.
Yeah. Me too.
It's like such a cool classic thing to see especially for people that were not able to catch the Rhapsody Reunion Farewell Tour or the Truly Lione Rhapsody Tour. This is like, let's go for it. And it's such a good set. That's amazing, honestly, that you have this on your festival.
It's like, it's not a real power metal festival if Fabio Lione isn't there doing something.
Exactly. And we are so sorry that we're creating even one more brain.
No, it's perfect. We love it. We have the chart. We have the Rhapsody chart with charting all the history.
Yeah, exactly.
And we just keep adding to it. Like, it's in there as one of the current things.
We created it for Fabio, the new logo.
Nice.
When we contacted him, it was announced for some German event with another with some other letters like regular.
Yeah, it was just a text thing. I remember that when first announcement showed up, we were like, "Is this real?"
And then we contacted Fabio through his agent Oscar, very nice guy, by the way. And we had a very good talk, and we also like, if you like, we can ask our graphic team to create like a new Fabio Lione's Dawn of Victory logo for you, if you like. That's totally up to you. And he said, yeah, give it a shot. And then the guy who makes Epic Fests, like the core designer of Epic Fest, created like different kinds of types, and then we had some good talks about it. And if you see, like, there's the big V, and then there's the lion face, and there's the sun. So you have like the Lione, and you have the Dawn, and you have the victory. So you can actually have like a symbol for it. So we created. He was very happy, and we're very happy that he's happy. And we're actually going to have a good talk in 2 days about something very interesting, I would say. So we are working on a very good and special show here at Epic Fest with Fabio. And that's going to be. If we just manage to pull off 50% of what we have of ideas, that's going to be epic as fuck.
Wow. You guys really do seem full of big ideas for all of this.
Yeah, kind of can't stop it when it's just like when the engine is running, the ideas just keep coming, and then it's just fun to like realize them. Just like why not just try to realize it instead of just making a lot of ideas.
Yeah, and that's the key thing, that you're actually doing all this stuff. Like the festival has happened, is happening. I have, from what we've seen this year, can't believe it was this year, it's forever ago, in January, there's I have full confidence that this is going to be awesome, that you can actually pull a lot of these off. It's incredible.
And as I said, like now it's going to be twice the size, because if we didn't, it would already be sold out now.
Right.
But I promise that by making it twice as big, it's going to be 3 times as epic, because it gives us so many more opportunities to like develop this. And it's all about the music, but it's actually more about the experience that you get in total. And we focus so much on that the whole year. Like the lineup is like that's made for like several months ago. So what we are working on constantly now is like creating the best experience for the fans, and also when people are coming from all over the world, it's like we need to keep pushing the limits and try to make it better every year, and an even better and more epic experience. And it definitely will be. And for people who have been there from the first year, they're so nice that they can follow this from just like a Gimle without any atmosphere at all. That was just like club festival. It was cool. It was power metal all the time, but like creating banners, creating atmospheres, creating worlds. What we managed to do on 8 months last time. Now we had 1.5 years, and it's the Realm of Might and Magic area is going to be pretty damn epic, and a lot of other cool stuff that we can't wait to show people. But I'll promise that every time we make it bigger, we will make it twice as better. And it's not about the money; it's about creating the best power metal experience for fans all over the world. That's a vision, and that's what we need to be focusing on. And gladly, we are able to do that with this project, and that's just nice.
Yeah, I loved all of the like smaller events that you guys had as part of this. So like the D&D sessions, and like all the people dressing up in fantasy outfits, the like dressing up of like the Ravens Tavern and all of that. It's all of those things where it's like, you don't have to do that, but it's awesome that you do. It really shows that level of care there.
Yeah, and people actually like all of that. So it's great.
And it makes it an experience and not just shows, because of course we're also going to give people a lot of tough choices with 3 stages, and just like every other festival, there's tough choices to make somebody. But the other way, we have also just like for every power metal nerd, it's like, oh, what if there was a festival with more stages where they only had power metal? Yeah, we did that, and that is going to give you some tough choices. There's not some black metal, mediocre black metal playing over there that you can skip and go eat your dinner. It's like
there's not the obvious dinner band.
We always talk about having the dinner band. There's
exactly.
Scheduling for this is a nightmare.
and that's how it is, and that's the same thing with Gimle. Why do we have it? Because it gives us the possibility to take even more new bands in, give them really good experience with a completely packed, intimate atmosphere. Even bands who have never played before can go play shows there for a full crowd and stuff like that.
That's what like I think really stood out to me when I went to the very first show in Gimle this year for the festival, and I thought, okay, first show, smaller stage, maybe it won't be very packed, but like no, that first show is packed. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a time here.
And that was like a Danish band had played a club show for 50 people before. That was the only other show they have been playing. So it gives us opportunities, and that can be a bit frustrating because you want to see and hear everything. And we also create signing sessions, and we also create side shows and events, and there's tons of things to do, and that's I think that's what's hopefully keeps it a bit frustrating, but also makes it worth to come back, because then there's a lot to experience.
No, definitely, and also I want to say, like, I really like that you have that chance with the technically smaller bands on the smaller stage, because you are, to me, you feel like a very uniquely sized festival right now, because like I've gone to Denmark now all the way from Argentina to meet my friends and to go to this festival. So when I tell people first, hey, I'm going to Denmark, and they're like, where is Denmark? Oh, okay. That's not one of the famous Europe ones. Why are you going there? Why not France, Italy, the standard from this side of the world? I'm like, I'm meeting with my friends and we're going to a festival. And they think, like Coachella festival, something like Wacken, like a and like, no. But it has like bands that I would not see otherwise, because they would not tour South America yet, because they don't have the size. But also some bands that might eventually, but they are all so good that they are still within the same ticket. It's like, it's worth it when you can do the trip. And that's probably helps, like, how you attract people from several countries and not just neighboring Europe, because it is, it ends up being a really attractive trip to make around it. Because like we stayed in Denmark I stayed for 2 weeks with the festival in the middle. And it was great. It was an excuse to finally go to Europe instead of like going to the States or something like that. And it's pretty great, because like spending the weekend there in Roskilde, it was like, this is a great town. They have the Viking Museum, the giant cathedral that we saw, the church in the middle. Just walking around town was so nice.
The Rock and Roll Museum.
Rock and Roll Museum. We went to the Rock and Roll Museum. It was like, this is actually amazing. This is not just like some dinky tourist trap. It was worth spending a couple hours just walking around, seeing everything, and the culture of Danish rock. It was so cool. And I think that's great. So I am so happy that this is actually doing well, because it should. You're really making a great thing here.
Very happy to hear. Also, it's like we're trying to work even more with the other attractions and stuff like that. There's also, what's it called? Land of the Saga, I think it's called. Something like that. Oh. In English, it's called Soundland. Yeah, never mind. But there's like a Viking King's Hall, and like, because Roskilde, it was like, it was the first capital of Denmark, and it was the Viking capital, and they started in the land, having their King's Hall and the community in there until they start raiding with Viking ships. Then it moved to where Roskilde is now, by the sea, where you see all the Viking ships on there. And it also has the cathedral where all the kings and queens from Denmark are buried underneath the ground. So every monarch in Denmark from, I think it was like 1300 or something like that, is buried there. So there's a great many attractions to go and see and experience beside the shows too. And we're trying to dig into that, see how we can make that work together with the festival even more. But yeah, actually, the US, I think, is like the fifth biggest country where people are coming from. We are up on, I think we're 28 different countries now, I think, and I think it's 14 different states people are traveling from.
Nice.
So it's going to be...
You guys posted this picture of like all the flags where people are coming from, which I thought was really cool. I know some of my friends from like the American power metal festival stuff have said, okay, we're going to Epic Fest next year. We're going to make that trip. I think you've made it too attractive for like, the power metal fans worldwide, for these hardcore nerds to be like, yes, this needs to happen. We got to keep this going.
There's also this interesting thing with power metal, specifically for the US and maybe Canada as well, that the fans feel they are too like spread out North America. So a lot of bands just can't tour the whole country, and maybe they tour the East Coast, maybe they tour the West Coast only, or maybe they just don't tour the US, or they play only these specifically big festivals where half the audience has to travel anyways, half across the country to get there. and now they see these lineups and think, oh, maybe I'll just save up a bit more and go to this one because it might not be that much more of a cost. It's very interesting, and it's very cool that you still then include North American bands, not just for the locals that might not see them yet because they don't tour Europe, but because I am sure that there are some people that think, maybe instead of doing prog power, I am in the East Coast, I'll just go to Denmark and visit and learn something new for this year, which I think is pretty cool.
I hope that they will also keep going to prog power.
No, of course, yeah.
Visit both. But I'm glad that you think so. And it, with great power comes great responsibility. I would say, for creating the most epic fest there it's known to mankind, and that is our vision. So when you invite power metal nerds from over the world, traveling so many miles to experience something, we promise to do our best to deliver. And keep doing that, and that's why actually the feedback also was interesting to hear in your podcast from last year. I remember, like, why the fuck on earth have they made like signing session with with Twilight Force at the same time as Fellowship? That was with full. It was very obvious to us that the Fellowship has like exploded in between our hands in interests. So we need to like take the most dedicated Twilight Force fans away from Fellowship show to like quite a like separate people.
So that was an intentional move then to try.
Exactly, it was 110% intentional to keep have people there in a big line, because exactly like Fellowship exploded in between our hands and we couldn't like really change anything. We couldn't change scenes, so we needed to give people a very difficult choice, and that's kind of divided people up in two groups, and that was why actually if you waited in the line for the Fellowship for 25 minutes, you were actually able to go and see the show. But that was only because there were so many people standing in line for signatures and pictures with the just Twilight Force at the same time.
Pure crowd management, like they do in Disneyland. That's what it is. Yeah, it makes sense. Like that, it makes sense that you have to do that when you realize that we're gonna have like a situation with way too much people trying to enter at once. Because
again, it's a perfect story for Fellowship, I would say.
Yeah,
everybody wins, I would say.
Yeah. I'm one of the I watched half of Twilight Force and then went to Fellowship. And so I was one of the people that entered a bit late, and I was able to enter without issue. But I remember before that, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, they are checking people," and of course, it was that time that you're talking about. I think I made it right before the second wave. I'm not sure because I think I saw the full show, but it worked because after all of this, everyone at most was slightly annoyed that maybe they missed the song, but everyone was happy that they could see either band.
I would say that the intimacy that there was in this show at Gimle, like being so close and so I'm so happy that was possible to do, because it was such a great show and there was so much love in that little room.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It was so nice.
It was such an emotional experience for everyone.
And that's why the same thing goes when Blind Guardian have played at Gimle 2 times. It's like it's something so unique to be in this room of 550. We can do something to make it 600, but it's not more than that. And you're actually able to, like, there's not a bad view, there's not bad sound. It's like it's so perfect special. Everywhere, and that's so special, and that's just something else than the big stage show. But both things can be the best performance ever. But it's like different kind of experiences, and that's why also when now we're scaling up, this might make even more sense to you guys what I'm trying to say without saying anything. But when you're entering the new stage era, I'm pretty damn sure that it's going to be something that's going to rise the level of big stages too. I think it's going to be, and we tried to do that as well with King Rover's Hall and the whole theme and the areas around, and when we're going to work with that twice as much next year.
Nice.
And you're getting me excited. We're still quite a few months away.
Yeah.
I also feel a bit busy, but we have the plans. We have the right people we work together with to realize all our ideas and visions. And as I said earlier with the Fabio Lione show, if we just happen to pull off 50% of our ambitious ideas, then I'm happy.
Awesome.
And then we can take the next 50% for the future festival. We need to develop every year, so it's just going to be big, not necessarily bigger in the same, like it's scaling up twice the size every year. That's not the plan.
Sustainable. Yeah,
but there is possibility that we can size it a bit more up, but that gives us the opportunity to make an even more epic experience in total, with all kind of more side shows and stuff like that. We have some very, very cool plans for the next 3 years, I would say, and next year is going to be hopefully something very extraordinary, epic for power metal fans, I would say.
Awesome. I'm really
we've already called it the most epic fest known to man.
We call it that, yeah. We call it that the first day. When we do this thing, like we were there with a bunch of our friends, right? Beyond the podcast, and when we travel together, we make a shared album, so everyone puts all the photos. And I just called it the most epic fest known to man, and that's it. We started with this because it's just it's really cool. It worked out really great. For a lot of us, like Kyle here, it was like, oh my god, it's so cold. I've never been this cold in my life. But it was still a great adventure because that's one of the things we experienced, something that we couldn't experience ever before. And it's like, this is so cool. And the shows work. I remember we were worried about walking between the venues.
Yeah.
But it was such an easy walk. And you are like pumped from the show. And as long as you're just going, it's perfectly fine. And you see the group of people, everyone is going at roughly the same time. So it's like you just follow the sea of black shirts and it takes you to the next metal show. It's perfect.
And there's also different kinds of concert goers. There's some of them who have had like 3 pints, and then it's all about being social and drinking and chatting and like being social about. And then there's the people who are so afraid of missing our fellowship.
They just camp.
Exactly. So like, but building like this indoor atmosphere kind of world around it and inside the venues. I think it's going to be. It's going to be more around Roskilde Congress Center and the indoor areas over there, where Gimle is more like the small tavern. Like you decide to go over there and to see some of the newer bands that you might never have seen before, and you might not just tour next year and stuff like that. To see all the new upcoming bands. And the other way, on the other side, you'll be having some bigger and more epic shows over at the 2 other stages. But I promise that it's going to be very, very nice.
Nice.
We need to make it better every year. So
that's a great thing to strive for. Honestly, that's awesome to hear. But
like my biggest inspiration is like Tomorrowland. It's like it's not metal at all. Opposite, but the idea of spending so much time and energy on creating like a visual and atmosphere experience for your concert goers, your festival attendants, it's like that's insane how they do it. And I will never have like the economy that they have, because they are a big fucking huge outdoor with very expensive tickets. But being very inspired by festivals like Tomorrowland, to like keep pushing the limit on how to make metal festivals, and especially an indoor metal festival, something that is the opposite of what you normally think of an indoor festival or concert can be. And that's what's right after we have made the lineup, that's our main focus. How to make like the best experience.
It feels like you guys are like pushing the limits of what the city of Roskilde can even like handle. Because like the hotels are selling out, like Airbnbs are selling out. The 3 food places near the venue are gonna get swarmed by all these metal dudes and all that. It's kind of fun to see.
Yeah. Exactly. And we know when it's becoming a problem, we need to find a solution to it. And we can't build a hotel. But the positive thing is that Copenhagen is only like 25 minutes away by train. And
you could commute, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. For most big cities around the world, bigger than Denmark, 25 minutes with a ride isn't that far away.
To me, it would be the normal time that it takes me to come back from a show normally here within the city of Buenos Aires. Yeah. Just because of traffic. It's not even the nice trains that you guys have there. Just taking a bus, it will take me 30 to 40 minutes. If I go to one of the big stadiums within the city, I am looking at 1 hour after the show ends till I get home. So yeah, it's perfectly reasonable. And especially with all the accommodations, because like we stayed in all places that were around the central station of Copenhagen. So once you take the train, you're done. You just walk a couple of blocks and you have a bunch of places to stay.
But of course, it's good for the local community that everything is sold out half a year in advance. There's still some rooms left, and we're also working together with some cabins and stuff like that to open that up and try to push the city as much as possible. And also regarding food, how can we create a good service for next year? It's like to make sure that people can have easy access. And as you said in the podcast, Kyle, I think like having a McDonald's right next to the festival, it's nice because it takes off a lot of pressure because they are indeed fast food. They can deliver fast, and in a packed metal program, that is where McDonald's show for the best side, delivering food fast.
Yeah, definitely.
But we're also going to create like some more possibilities too in that way. But hopefully, we're starting to reach out to the city, and hopefully within a couple of years, it's like a very how to say that the whole city is a part of the festival in many ways. In an even more bigger way than it is now with the Viking ship. I actually did a show for like 2.5 years ago on a Viking ship in the Roskilde Fjord. Outside there's a lot of band playing. Wow. Yeah. And the biggest 30-meter long Viking ship, we turned that into a sailing venue.
That's insane.
That's amazing.
I can forward a link to you guys with the show.
Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
It was it's a Nordic folk band called Vik that plays a modern take on traditional Nordic folk. And then we created like with some carpenters, they created like a scene on the big Viking ship, the biggest one, the King ship, and then we had, I think it was 20 people help navigate the ship, the Viking ship, out of the harbor, and then it laid out in the Roskilde Fjord out there, and we saved a plugged power in it, and there was a PA, and then all the visitors were in the smaller Viking ship around the King ship. God. So they were sitting in Viking ships watching the show. That was fucking amazing.
No, that is incredible.
But to see, there's so many possibilities to work with all these historical, real fantasy stories, I would say. That's kind of not a word, saying real fantasy. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Trying to work with all this local history that is actually very interesting and very inspiring, and to see how we can work even closer with them, with the festival, to create like more epic experiences for people.
When we went to the Viking Ship Museum, just as like a tourist thing when we were there, there were a lot of other people I noticed obviously going to Epic Fest. They had the shirts, the hair, the whole thing. So I think it probably was like an extra busy weekend for them as well. Just like you said, the whole community really kind of feels it there.
I think it's great that you actually go and try to work with everyone and try to make it a whole town thing, because it's not just burdening the town, like, why is suddenly this random weekend filled with people? No, you actually go and work with them, and that's great, because that's just pushing forward the whole culture of the place, and inviting more people obviously gets people to know more about the history of the place, of your country. Basically, like, again, I am from so far away that I need to explain a lot about this, and that's just something that it's because of you now. Because otherwise, I wouldn't have thought ever about, oh yeah, my first visit to Europe is gonna be Denmark, and like, people here, it's like, oh, if you go to Europe, you go to Spain, you go to Italy, you go to France at most. No. It's Denmark. It's like up there, and you can take the train to Sweden for a day and come back. And it's like, and you're like mind blown. Like, what?
Yeah. I had the same thing when I would like tell my friends like, oh yeah, I'm going to Europe in January. And they're like, yeah, it's like, oh, France or something. I'm like, no, Denmark for a metal festival in January. And it's like, oh, good luck with that, bud.
Yeah.
Because we're just weirdos like that, I guess.
And I wanted to ask you something. Like, I've seen that, I don't know if this goes anywhere, but I want to ask you, because we've seen from some of our friends, because we have friends in different countries, that are you working with the Power Metal Quest Fest people on something?
Oh, yeah. Søren and I went over there to say hi. To see, we have. I think the first time I saw Power Metal Quest Fest was like 2 years ago or something like that, right after the first edition. It popped up that there was a Power Metal event going on in Birmingham. So I always wanted to go after I saw it. And then we just kind of started to... Amy from the Power Metal Quest Fest wrote a message to us, and we just have been chatting back and forth. And when Søren and I decided, let's go over and say hi to the guys, and not be at work and listening to Power, or drink some beers and not being at work, and we had a very good time. So I think
nice.
At collaboration, I would say that we're looking forward to collaborate in the way that makes sense for them and for us. I would say Epic Fest is it's like, it started at Gimle, which is like the venue where I work 9 to 5 every day, and then it expanded out to be bigger. And then this year's festival where you attended, the volunteers and people working in different bars is actually from different kinds of venues and metal clubs all around Denmark. So it's like gathering the metal community for whole Denmark to be a part of Epic Fest, and that makes sense to, as an international festival, to open that up, to like create relationships with people working with the same interest in not just Denmark. Why not? So most of the people from the Quest Fest team are there with a ticket in the hand and a draft beer in the other one, and not being a part of it for now. I think Amy will come be a part of the Epic Fest team too, who runs the Quest Fest, and maybe some more from UK at some point. It's open. We're having volunteers from France and from Mexico and from Germany and Sweden and all over Denmark. So it's like, it's possible to come and be a part of the festival and like being in some of the functions. We actually made it that you can sign up as a fellowship, and then you can create like your own trademark for your fellowship. So you could be working in a bar, let's say with a specific dress or with your own flag and all that kind of stuff, and be a part of it, as long as you serve loyal to the banner of Epic Fest. I would say that we are opening for every smaller armies, and if not, you can also join our army.
It's like turning volunteer work into a team sport of sorts.
Yes, exactly. And it's like, if people would like to be a part of it, then there's the opportunity to be it, and of course, then you will have, depending on how much you want to be part of it, you will get your ticket, and you'll be able to see shows, and you will get shirts, and you will get food and drinks, and that's a way to be a part of the festival if you're interested in that, and not just with a ticket and a draft beer.
Right.
Or you can combine the possibilities of both things if you like, and that's I think that gives a very nice atmosphere. Also being, as I said, clubs and venues from all over Denmark being a part of it. That gives like a very nice spirit, and it's like a very nice team spirit, and being a part of something and want to push it. And I think that, as I mentioned, Roskilde Festival, which is like a 130,000 capacity festival outdoor, huge festival, and it's run by 35,000 volunteers, and like
right,
and of course there's staff just like there's staff in this festival, but it's like it's kind of the same idea. Then it's like the local scout or the local something like that runs like a specific function in the festival.
Yeah.
Or it can be, you can just want to be, I've been volunteered for being a production coordinator for a dome scene at the festival for some years. It's like being able to get skills and stuff like that. So it's very much in the same philosophy as Roskilde Festival, that it's open for everybody to come and be a part of it in a way that makes sense for them and for us. And everybody can have like it can be a social thing, it can be a professional thing, it can be just to do something, not to buy the ticket, and then you work it off and you get some food. So there's many different reasons why to volunteer to be a part of a festival, but I think it makes like a very unique experience. Yeah.
Nice.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. It's a nice angle. Yeah, it's cool. I like the collaboration. I like the bringing people from the metal community from around just to focus their powers, basically.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I'm sure there's a lot of overlap between like the audiences and probably the staff too of things like Quest Fest and then things like Epic Fest. They're not that far apart, and power metal is still its own special niche, and there's always those crossovers there with the fan bases. I know, like on the American side, we have like Mad with Power and Prog Power like a month apart, and it's like half of the same fans are going to both because it's just those are the people with the will and the ways to make that happen.
Yeah, that's all. That's really cool. I would like to know something more about you, Lauge. Like, I don't know, because like I feel like we like to make these interviews less interviewee, and we fell into a trap of making it too interviewee this time, I feel, on us. So like, I don't know. Do you have a favorite craft beer or something like that? What's something fun? I want to hear something fun from you.
Has he not been fun enough already for you for now? This dude's lame.
As you experience that all four Epic Fest craft beers are IPAs, then it's not a huge surprise that I'm very much into IPAs personally. But we also have other kind of beers, and at Gimle there's more, and we're also working on of course there's a draft pilsner, and then there's some other lagers too and stuff like that. But I really like IPAs, and that's why I decided to make like 4 different types of IPAs for the festival, together with a brewery that's called Dry and Bitter.
That's pretty cool.
I love that you had like your mana potions, as you called them. Yeah. It also was hilarious for me to come from the West Coast all the way to Denmark to have your West Coast IPAs.
Yeah, of course. But that's maybe because I love it, I would say.
That's fair.
And then people were asking for alternatives for beers. Last year. So at the moment, I'm developing some 2 different types of dry cider to be an alternative for people who like alcoholic beverages that is not beer. But of course, you can also get drinks and stuff like that. But trying to make like very good quality products and made it together with people that understand what we want to do, and are open for like creating nice products for a power metal festival. That's very nice.
That's great. That's great. Like it's like honestly, you do everything like try to make it the best quality it's awesome. It's awesome.
I would say Søren and I make this festival based on how would we love a festival to be. If we were going to visit a festival and we're trying to make that, and gladly it looks like other people enjoy the same thing as we do. Yeah. So that's a good thing.
That's great.
Yeah, I love it when the power metal festivals lean into the angles of like, what do the people who like power metal also like? Which, whether that's like video games or RPGs and fantasy nonsense or craft beer or whatever it happens to be, I think hitting those other angles just makes you like feel seen in a way that you probably wouldn't in your day-to-day life, I'd say.
Yeah, and also not at other festivals, I would say. Like, you can see a lot of these bands, like 4 or 5 of them at other big festivals, but it's just like, then there's black, then there's death, then there's core, then there's everything else, and it's not like we're all in this big metal community, and we're all together, but we are still even more together in this niche, I would say, and we feel a stronger connection to other fans of power metal, I would say. So like making this is like make this a place where you can be 100% yourself and just have a good time with people that share exactly the same passion as you do. That gives a unique atmosphere, and we're just trying to boost that as the promoters as much as possible by spending a lot of money on creating all these things that are not just music and people on stage, but actually the experience in itself. And that's the huge focus for us.
That's awesome.
To make this a couple of days where it's just like, hopefully it's going to be some of the best days in your life and something that you will think of. And if we're able to just like create something that's come close to that, then we're extremely satisfied and happy. Like, there's nothing more interesting than doing something that gives other people have a great time. That's like why we use so many hours on it. It's because it's about making something that people are really enjoying, and that makes sense for us to use a work life to do that. Søren is working, has another job, and I have another job, and then we're doing the festival together beside our jobs. But it's kind of embedded. That's because we both work with metal scene in Denmark, but with different things.
That's great. It's a lot of work. I know a lot of people sometimes don't realize, because they honestly don't have to think about it, how much work it takes to do just a basic festival. Never mind all the things that you guys are doing and all the things that you might be adding that we haven't heard of before. It is a titanic effort, and everyone should understand that when they see and they make the choice to go, and maybe think, but is it expensive or not enough bands? Maybe and like, it is what it is, and it is a lot of work. We are grateful to experience it.
And why the hell have they decided to put the Twilight 4 signing session at the same time as Fellowship?
Everything has a reason.
A lot of thoughts behind that. Behind that big move. But yeah, exactly. There are so many things, from safety to logistics to even handling so many bands flying in, flight time, flight delays,
I don't even want to think
service
about all that, because with the lineup that you have, the amount of bands, all the fly-ins, just handling all that, it's insane. I would know.
That is a huge lot of work. But we have some very nice people on board, and the team is getting bigger and bigger, and we're getting, now we're like scaling it up twice as much. So we need to rethink a lot of solution that we made for this year. We can't use that again because we're changing it so dramatically in creating a bigger, a better festival. But I think it's healthy to like be able to reconsider yourself like quite often and think, how can we make this even better, instead of just like making the same as last year, just with some other bands.
Yeah.
And that's actually what I also love. I know that it was freezing cold in January, but then it was a snow white winter festival.
I loved it.
Then it's going to be April, where everything is like start to blossom and the trees are green, and hopefully the sun is out and stuff like that. But that's also gives us the opportunity to like make Epic Fest different adventures every year. That it's going not just what we put on the scene and what we build inside, but it's actually
the context where you're in.
Yeah, exactly. And based on the decision where we make this festival now this year, okay, let's create a new experience based on all our knowledge and experience from last year. But let's create a new one based on this specific weekend and be able to be curious about everything constantly and say, what if we go this way? How can we do this? And could we make this even more epic if we did like this and this and this? And just constantly, every time you get an idea and it keeps there for a couple of days, and you have checked it both drunk and sober, and if the idea is, if the idea keeps working, then push it. Let's see where it goes, and don't be afraid of ask. Just we love to collaborate with bands too. It's like John has from Judicator is doing some of his stories he's doing the concept chronicles at the moment on Instagram. That was just like an idea. Hey John, where we really had a very nice what you call it? Just say chemistry?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Just like really like John. He's a very nice guy, and so we decided like, let's do something fun together. Just like Nicoletta Rosolini, who's like the anchor woman, I would say, of our socials on Instagram, and she's going to be a part of the festival in a different way. Just like, hey, would you like? And she was sitting there in her. She's a pet doctor. It's not called that. It's a veterinarian.
Yes,
it's called that. In her break after a surgery of a dog, I think, or something like that, and we had like a talk about, hey, would you want to be a part of the Epic Fest family, and how could that be awesome? And so like every time we get some cool, fun ideas, let's try it out, and just like let's get Insania back. Okay, let's use 1.5 year dialogue with these guys to make sure that we finally bring them back. And hopefully also all of our ideas with Fabio is going to turn out epic, and we also got some more ideas up in the sleeve. So wake up, be curious, and try to push the limits. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. Then you learn something. And if it does, hopefully it turns out all your preparations for it. Hopefully it turns out to be just half as epic as you hope it will be. And just try things. And we're in a very lucky situation where we are able to do that.
No, that's awesome. That's great. I love hearing that. I hope everyone is paying attention. If you take anything away from this episode, listeners, I hope it was that last part, because that's the way to do things. Just go for it.
I loved your philosophy of considering an idea both drunk and sober.
Yeah, that's good advice.
I love that.
I think actually it was. I actually think that there's some Greek philosophy. Don't hang me up, but I think that there's a.
We'll take it.
Yeah, I think maybe we can Google it afterwards. But I'm pretty damn sure that it's something I heard like a couple of years ago, that if you get an idea, it's a very good idea to like try to see if it's a good idea, both drunk and sober, and if it sticks for a couple of days, then it's a good idea.
It's a good test.
Let's see. Maybe it was just something bullshit I heard, but I like the idea too. I think it's use it out there. Don't drink responsibly, but try to use that idea. It worked. Yeah, it's been working quite well.
Yeah, important tool at your disposal there.
Yeah.
Something. This is kind of shifting gears a little bit, but it's something I've been curious about.
Yeah.
So when people, this is mostly me, I think, speaking as an outsider a bit, but when people think of like heavy metal and power metal, it's usually I think associated with the Nordic countries. You know, you got your Finland, your Sweden, your Norway. It seems like Denmark kind of falls by the wayside a little bit compared to some of those other countries. Is that actually the case when it comes to heavy metal and power metal scenes? Or am I just talking out my ass here?
No, the Swedes and the Finns and the Norwegians, like the Norwegians had their black metal things going, and the Finns just have like, they have, as the country in the world with most metal bands per capita.
Yeah.
And Denmark, it's not that we don't have like a good metal scene. We say like King Diamond. It's a very good example of somebody who moved at the early state, and there's Volbeat, who also gained a lot of attention, and Lars Ulrich in Metallica and stuff like that. So it's not that there isn't a metal scene, both old school and newer bands, but it's not as from a storyteller perspective. The Danish metal scene isn't a very good story because it's all kind of stuff. The Swedes are all about melodies. They're melodic, the country of melodic music, and also the country of melodic metal. So that's their trademark. And the Finns are just like, Finland is a crazy country.
Yeah.
So that's their trademark. Everything crazy comes out from there. And Norway started burning churches down and said, "Hail Satan."
Yeah.
And that's a very strong trademark. I actually wrote my university degree about the black metal scene in Norway.
Ooh.
Wow.
So that's a very strong brand too. And the Danish brand is just a lot of different kind of stuff, but it isn't like a very strong story. And that's why I think that our Nordic cousins have stronger identity in the global metal market, I would say. But yeah, Lars Ulrich speaking very funny Danish English, just like I am doing right now, has been, of course, a big front figure, and just like King Diamond too, very successfully and very inspiring people who have made it from Little Denmark. But yeah, I think you're right, and I think it's because the Danish storytelling and branding is more difficult to pull off. But hey, maybe we can make it a power metal country. Let's see.
Yeah, I think you guys are on your way with something like this.
If there was somebody sitting in Denmark trying to make a storytelling about the Danish metal scene, it would, I would say try power metal and see how that goes.
Yeah, because like there's room for creating that big stereotypical branding for the region, for the country.
But the thing is that the power metal scene isn't that big in Denmark, and that was actually it's been historically bad in Denmark actually before we started all this. And that was also why most of our friends said, like, why the fuck are you creating a power metal festival in the country that hates power metal and only have like 4 power metal in Denmark at all? Like, I think there's actually only 4 or 5 power metal bands in Denmark. Like in general, even in like a rehearsal room scale, there's not more than 5.
Yeah,
I know. So why the fuck are you doing that? Because of passion, and because me and Søren love it, and we just trying to say, let's see how it goes, let's pull it off. And that's why it's so nice that it turned out to become like a global community around it. Like, so many countries are traveling. It's like it's close to 50-50 between Danes and international. And it only, for every year, the international percentage has only been higher and higher and higher. So it's like it's more like a festival that's not creating necessarily. It's creating more focus on power metal in Denmark, and has gained more fans into it, and people have started learned, and they're not just they're the one with all the high pitched singers and all the positive things. That's not for me. And then people have realized it. So there are coming more power metal fans in Denmark, but it's even more like global. Let's meet up and have the best time of our life together. And have
you seen
party.
A shift over the years with Epic Fest of going from mostly Danish people attending to more international, or how has that shifted over time?
The first year was surprisingly, it's like I'm not trying to say that the first year was like 22 different countries, and that surprised me a lot.
Even for the first year?
Yeah, for the first year.
Wow.
That surprised me a lot. But I think it was like 20%. And then we scaled it up 2.5 times. And then it was 28 different countries. And USA joined with 11 different states. And that was like, okay. And the percentage, I think, was around 40% from international. And now, normally I don't share this, or why not share it on a podcast? But the current numbers are that now we have surpassed last year's sales already at this moment, and it's close to 50-50 now. So we can see that it's becoming both bigger for Denmark, but it's also becoming a more global thing, and that's very nice. Because I think that's really adds something to the experience that there's people. I just got a message from a guy from Indonesia because for some reason our ticket, I really hate our ticket system, but that's how it is. But for some reason Indonesia wasn't on the list.
Oh,
so
if you want to know, I didn't want to bring it up, but there's a lot of countries that are not in the list. Like when I bought my ticket, I couldn't put my actual country. It still let me pay in the end, but I don't remember now. I think Argentina was just missing, and I used Italy or something to be able just to get through.
It's so weird. It's like Croatia isn't there. Why isn't Croatia?
And it's weird because it was clearly not using it to check the credit cards or anything. No, it's just
not at all. Not
just
at
for
all.
data, but the drop down is not complete. I don't know where they are getting the list of countries, but
I have no clue.
So there's probably more countries
in the whole fucking world. I'm not in charge of.
You probably have more countries than the actually reported ones. Like
I think there was like 4 or 5 different countries that said, "Oh, we're not on the list," and wrote to us. And there was also people writing, it's like, I can't buy from Croatia, I can't buy from Indonesia. Afterwards, like, what to do? Pick another country and type a strange zip code. I have no clue why. But as we said, it sometimes things should look. Why isn't it just so easy to create a good ticket system?
That's the eternal question. Yeah. Oh my God!
Well, how can it be that difficult to create like a good system? But it must be much harder than I think.
Yeah,
it is,
like when you,
apparently.
It's the kind of thing that you're like, oh, but it's so easy. Just put all the countries. That is actually such a hard question to solve for a website designer.
If there was just a place on the internet where I could find a list of countries in the world. But that's a tricky one.
But it's difficult.
It is actually, not out there.
Like you really can get into a lot of issues with this, because like my day job has some stuff to do with programming, and you have issues when you say, "Oh, let's get the list from Google of all the countries that they use." But when you show a certain list of countries to somewhere in the United States, and you show the same list of countries to someone in, say, China, they will start arguing because some of those countries will have the wrong name, depending on who is seeing it. And suddenly your implementation grows gigantically because there's a bunch of things that you have to take real care. Like if you use Google Maps in different parts of the world, some borders change, names change, to make sure that people don't get angry there. So I know that it can be way more complex than any of us think. But also, Indonesia is a big normal country. Croatia is a big normal country. Argentina is a big normal country. So that one is kind of fixable. That's not as excusable. But all ticketing systems in general have so much issues all the time. It's so annoying.
But so let this be a message. If you have problems buying a ticket, write to us and then we'll help you out. That's a service announcement.
Amazing. We're gonna put that up. Like, we need to do clips and share those specifically.
I wrote the whole translation of how to buy a ticket step by
you
step
wrote that. That's so good. That's so useful.
Because it's like, why isn't it possible to have like a English word? No, it's not. Okay, why? It's just not.
No, that
also,
is not.
they have like this they have like this map function where you can see where ticket buyers come from, and every time when I try to do it for Epic Fest, it's just like error. And then I wrote to like the
that is
like,
just
why is it? I have no clue, but apparently it's not normally used for selling tickets in a global scale. It's more like a Danish.
You're really pushing them.
But
when we all started buying tickets for Epic Fest this year, and my friends were like, "Yeah, you have to go to this really weird page. It's all in Danish. Just Google Translate it. It'll probably be fine." I'm like, this is really sketchy, but okay, I think it worked.
Yeah. So hopefully my step-by-step guide works.
Oh yeah, it's really clear. Yeah. I love that you added that. All the steps, 15 steps. Like
yeah, exactly. It's just like if you have to explain every single step. But yeah, hopefully it have helped somebody. Yeah, it's not the best system, but it's write to us if there's problems out there. We'll help you out.
Yeah. And since you work at Gimle for your day job, right? Then
I'm program director at Gimle. So Gimle, we does. I think we're in 250 shows a year. So we have shows there from Tuesday to Sunday every week. We have break in the summer and Christmas, but beside that, we are running every day except Mondays. So I book shows there and promote shows, and we're 12 people working there and 120 volunteers at the venue. So that's my day-to-day job, and that's everything from comedy to Danish upcoming pop concerts, from supporting the Danish metal scene too, and it has a huge focus on youth culture, like evolving young kids in starting how to become promoters themselves, to do their own shows.
That's amazing.
We have like a festival called Delta Festival, which they called themselves. That's instead of going to football or going as a scout or what you do in your spare time, you can go to festival planning, and then
that's awesome.
You come there for a whole season from September. The season is from September to May. Then you meet up one evening every week. I think it's a Tuesday, that doesn't matter, but every Tuesday evening you meet up with the other team, and then you spread out in some is the music group booking, and some are the atmosphere, and some are food and beverage group, and some are promotion and marketing and so me. And then you get a role in the festival, and then we educate them and learn them how to do it, and then they are going to develop their own festival in May, where they're going to be in charge of everything, only with the support from us and a budget. So there's coming so many nice people out of Roskilde with very good skills of being able to create events and shows and stuff like that. And that takes a lot of time and a lot of focus from us. Also, I just developed a thing called Generation Metal, which is live metal shows. The idea came that it's very difficult to try to have your kids for a metal show, because it's in the evening, it's very late, there's a lot of drunk people, and that's fine that people are having beers and stuff like that, but it's not very kid friendly, and adults are moshing up in front. That's not a very kid friendly experience either, and that's cool. It has to be like that at a metal show Friday night somewhere, but it's not very easy to bring a kid for a show. So I created this called Generation Metal, where it's Sunday, it's 4:00 before dinner. It's only a 45-minute show. And before the show, there's like a poster workshop where you can like coloring your own poster with the band. And there's like room for autographs underneath each member. And then you go see the show, and all the adults are told to get back and let the
kids
front
out.
be for the kids.
That's awesome.
You take a 10 dB lower, so the sound isn't that is very good sound, but it's lower.
Yeah.
There's no alcohol. It's popcorn and soft drinks and juices and smoothies and stuff like that. So it's like a kid-friendly atmosphere, but with real concerts. It's not like it's not the show itself is not like made even more kid friendly. It is actually just
a show,
regular metal show.
Yeah.
Actually, the next one is with Victorious from Germany coming up here.
Cool.
Playing power metal for kids, and it's been sold out, and it's been a very cool project that I really love.
No, I adore this. This is so awesome.
Yeah, I had no idea, but anyways, this is really great.
And it have been sold out, the first two of them, and I'm actually thinking that now we have had the first two. The first one was Danish pagan metal, and the other one was Convent, that they play doom metal. But the kids, they fucking loved it. They
were having a good kids.
Time. And they were the band sitting down there, and all the kids are having autographs and learned the names just like it was like Spice Girls in 90s posters. Being able to, they can remember all the band members' names and stuff like that. That's so fun.
No, it's amazing. I love.
I wish
this.
I had something like that.
Yeah, this is so great. Genres don't need to have. They are not restricted by age.
No, exactly.
Kids can like whatever they want, and obviously we feel like sometimes this feels separate, but it's because there's this artificial. It's not a restriction, but it is a bit inaccessible, like you said, because if you bring your kid, if you bring your 7-year-old to a death metal show, it might not be the best of experiences all the time. So a lot of people will not do it. But that doesn't mean the kid doesn't like it or wouldn't like it if they try. So this is awesome. Incredible.
Yeah. And it's also a way to like try it out, and everybody in the room know that this is the concept. So if it doesn't work for you and your kid, then it's not like people, why did you bring your kid for a show?
No.
When you're as an adult, both an adult and a parent myself, it's like that could make me nervous, kind of like, what do everybody else think in this room about me bringing a kid for a show? And I don't blame anybody bringing a kid for a show. I actually think it's a very good idea, but as long as it's on the terms of the kid, but creating like the atmosphere and the way to just try it out, and it's a safe place and safe space for kids and for adults to see how it is to go to a metal show with your kid, and if it works, it's great. If it doesn't work, well, then maybe it works next time.
Yeah.
Instead of bringing them to a festival, which makes more sense for me, because then you can stay in the back.
Yeah.
It's outdoor. Yeah. But then again, it's also a big risk. If it doesn't work, then you have to travel back home, and it's very expensive ticket and all that kind of stuff. But we're trying to get all the knowledge from our first different shows and how to do these metal shows for kids, and then we're trying to make like how to make metal for kids, and maybe also make the whole brand possible to just adapt. And do for local promoters all over the world can start creating their own generation metal shows based on all the knowledge we have learned from the four.
Yeah, it's like a franchise, the model of how to put up this kind of show.
Yeah. Then we'll probably just make it basically free for everybody, just to an easy way to start making shows for kids. How to do that? Here's the whole package you can use, and basically for free. That's kind of the ambition with this project.
Yeah, I love this. This is amazing.
Yeah, really investing in next generation there. I love that.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
that
great.
is the long-term strategy.
That's great. I love it. I love this way more than Epic Fest right now, honestly, because it's such a cool idea, and now I know that you're the kind of guy that should be working on this, because you can probably pull this off properly. So this is great. This is great. Thanks for sharing it. This is awesome.
I have a whole after movie from the first show. With kids going amok to
we can
Danish
put the link.
Metal.
We'll put the link.
I'll send it to you too. So there was the Viking ship show, and then there's the kid metal concept.
Awesome things that
You're really covering so many bases here.
Yeah. No, this is great. This is great.
There's a lot of ideas going on in my brain, and gladly it's possible to pull them off.
That's awesome. So like, if you're putting on all these events, all these hundreds of shows a year, would you have any like key points of advice for bands or for concert goers to say like, this is what really makes the best experience, both like for the band and for the audience? What maybe people underappreciate, but if you're at all these live shows, you really see what people respond to the most.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's also very complex because it's depending on where you are in a career and all that kind of stuff. But I would say just like being generally nice and being generally professional is a good advice. But knowing how professional, get all your information, writers, and everything very smooth, very clear, very readable. Also, when it comes to your marketing strategy, make it. Just as I said, Denmark has a very bad metal storytelling. Because it's so many things at the same time. It's not like it's like
in the core identity,
exactly.
easy mental image for the country.
So we like. I would say most people like to respond to something that they can identify and put into some place in their brain that says this is them, instead of just being another fresh metal band looking freshy. And you can be there are so many extremely talented musicians out there, both now and before you. So why you? And that's probably the there's a book called Start With Why. It's not because I'm saying that that's the key to Eric's success, but there are some very true ideas in that. Why is it that you're doing this, and why is your band playing in this global scene with this music? And if your music and your story and your professionalism all adds up, you have higher chances. There's no guarantees in this world.
No, of course,
all those three things, then the luck might hit you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's always luck involved with these things, but having everything else there for when the opportunity strikes.
Exactly. I'm not saying that you need to be a concept band or anything. It's not like that, but you need to. If you can't explain people why they should listen to you and not the all 400 other fresh metal bands that are out there, then they probably won't listen to it, because there's 400 other professional new fresh metal bands out there. So it's getting into like the identity, something people can relate to or understand, and it's not just like a logo that looks like everything else and not the same story and not the same. I hope that answers kind of your question.
It's interesting to create your perspective on all that.
Yep.
But again, luck.
That
hard
will
work,
be at the end.
and then
hard work, luck,
with
be
hard
nice
work,
and professional.
Luck might hit you.
You just have to position yourself in the best possible way to receive that luck. Otherwise, you just completely off. You're just making it harder for you. That's great.
And
advice.
Of course, being able to write good music.
That's like the starting point.
But other people have succeeded without being able to.
But you should not assume that those are to they had all the other things that you don't have for sure. So that's how it is sometimes.
One other random thing I wanted to mention. I think we're getting close to wrapping up here, but I know you guys had Love Bites play a show there in Roskilde at Gimle earlier this year.
That was Roskilde Festival. No, that was Roskilde Festival actually.
Yeah, and so I would love if you guys could get more Japanese power metal bands coming out to Epic Fest. Maybe there's something next year. I don't know. I'm not fishing for anything, but just wanted to.
We like get a lot of Japanese bands, and now we're seeing some bands that are starting to play slightly more frequently in Europe. So we just tell everyone that runs Fest now, hey, request more Japanese bands. Convince the Japanese people that they can actually play outside of their country. Because it's so hard sometimes, and you feel like, why are you not touring the world? And because they don't think about that they can actually do that. So we tell promoters, hey, go and call everyone.
I love them, absolutely. And who knows, there was a huge American focus, and we might keep American focus, but we might also start creating other continent focus in the future. Who knows? Who knows? And if only you guys just knew a guy who was booking power metal for some festival, that you could send a list of ideas and try to influence. You might know that person. You're very welcome to try to influence me.
That's the real reason we're doing the podcast, to start worming our way into the worldwide.
This is all a long con to make festivals like we want them to.
We have 3 and 4 different bands from Asia in our minds. There's sometimes there's actually a language barrier that's very difficult.
That's it.
We have been writing with trying to contact a lot of people, and we don't really get that much response.
Yeah.
And before, some of them, the ones who have the best success, I have realized, and this is based on my own experiences, might not be the truth at all. But the Asian bands that gets European agencies to work for them, it looks like that they are doing much more, and that I think that there is a cultural and language.
There is that. Yeah.
How we settle deals, how we make touring plans, how generally just doing contracts with each other. I think it's much easier than when you have a European agency working with you. I would say we have been trying to reach out to a couple and never really got reply actually with an open offer to come.
Yeah, that's what
I'm not. And I'm sure that these messages ever really get to the right person.
I'm pretty sure that's what happens. Yeah, because I think it's relatively well known that a lot of the entertainment industry in Asia and specifically in Japan, they just don't think about abroad. They don't pay attention to it. So it's hard to get to the right person, which is now changing with the younger generations, that they actually realized because they use the internet that, oh, wait, we have fans. On the other side of the planet, this can actually work. The show that Galnerius did in Rock Power was gigantic. They played one show in Mexico that was incredible and nothing else. And every country would book them immediately. And they keep touring Japan every day, basically, without stopping. And you're saying, guys, can you
come over here?
Those people waiting to put the money and show up. And I don't know. Yeah, it's we're trying slowly to get to people, make the right connections. We see some are happening now with the Mad with Power people. It really helps when the organizer speaks Japanese, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think so.
We have to. It has to happen more across the board.
We actually asked one of our Japanese festival attendants. He got Twilight Force's Dragon. There's a picture of him.
Oh yeah.
Oh nice.
Yeah.
He was so nice. He also gave us gifts and stuff like that. He was very very nice guy. But we asked him if he could help us out trying to look into a specific band that we were interested in, how to get in contact with the right person if he wanted to help establish that connection. So yeah, it is a bit difficult, but but
we gotta try.
I'll send you two videos, and you can send me a list of your ideas, and let's exchange.
I love it.
Yep, that's perfect. And that's this has been great, honestly.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
We were really surprised and honored that you actually listened to our review and then wanted to come into the show. It means a lot to our little corner of the internet. That means a lot. And hopefully,
I think your feedback was very good. It's because there is, when you do something, there's always interesting to hear from another perspective.
It helps.
I can sit and see, and we need to do this, and we have to go, and there's a reason why this and this and this. But in the end, if it isn't received or understood, then the way that we communicate or do it is then it doesn't work. If it kind of not necessarily understood with the intentions, or of course, now I'm talking about the double Twilight Force fellowship thing that was with the full intentional. But we need to be better to maybe we learn so much from listening to people who goes to our events and to see what they think and what their reactions are to it, and we need to be open-minded and listen to that, because if not, then we're not able to make it better and better every year, and that's the vision. So that's very helpful.
That's
I appreciate you listening to that and even reaching out to us after. I felt like we spent a lot of time complaining about how cold and tired we were last year, but hey, we pulled it off.
That's easy to dismiss because we're just foreigners that don't know how to handle the cold. Like that's just it. It's fine.
We survived with minimal injuries. It was fine.
Minimal injuries, yeah. We survived. So yeah, again, thanks a lot. I'm gonna try again. Lauge. I lost it. Lauge.
Yeah, that was pretty close.
Okay, I'm gonna practice. I actually gonna practice. Like I need to do more Danish Duolingo and pronunciations. You have some phonemes that I have never attempted to pronounce in my life.
John from Judicator actually started to taking Danish courses, like to learn the Danish language.
Yeah. Oh wow!
That was ambitious. You know that. We all sound like Lars Ulrich, but we actually we are able to kind of communicate in English.
Honestly, it was so easy. I was so relieved that everyone speaks English there, and also hilariously, I think I mentioned this. Like, I realized that in Copenhagen, there's a lot of Argentinian people working there, so I suddenly spoke a lot of Spanish without issue. A lot of people from Buenos Aires. That was a random speak, but anyway, thanks a lot again for coming. And to everyone, we're looking forward to the next Epic Fest. And if you, dear listener, were like on the fence on this, you should buy a ticket. You should like plan your travels. It's actually worth it. It's gonna be awesome. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. It's gonna be great. Again,
we have sold more than last year's festival tickets. That's why it was a good idea to scale it up and make it bigger and better. But we also surpassed it for quite some time ago, so it's not so far away from a few tickets.
Gotta get
those
tickets
give
in.
People a heads up.
Yeah, they're close to selling out. So get your affairs in order and trigger this thing. And again, thanks a lot. And I would like to ask you, like we do with all our little guests on our little show, just to sign off, telling everyone on the audience to stay powerful.
Stay powerful.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
See ya.